UFC 310 is going down December 7th in Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena. I have built, a decent little card. Look, when it comes to matchmaking, I would consider myself very high. It's something I take passion. I love, making fights, and I've had Hunter and Dana steal a couple of them with no credit, but it's okay. Hopefully those will be my bosses one day when I get that job. You know what I mean? But anyways, yeah, I'll be posting my Paris predictions for tomorrow. But, I'm going to get right into this. Let's go. First up, prelim. Esteban Ribovics versus Drew Dober. Is this going to be boring? I don't think so. This is a matchup where it makes sense to me. Esteban Ribovics with a win like that over a very highly touted, Daniel Zellhuber, who was, rocked multiple times in that fight, hurt very bad, so close to the finish. But Drew Dober's coming off, I believe, 2 losses. I think he got a win. I can't remember, but I know he's coming off a loss to Silva. And then I know he lost to Moicano, but I believe he got a win in between there. I cannot remember who it was, but I know it was like someone who wasn't good. But look, this matchup makes sense. Esteban with a win like that gives him a lot of high stock. In terms of his entertainment, very entertaining fighter to watch. I knew that coming in to watching him, but now everybody knows it because that was a main event featured fight. So you got a good spot for him. And Drew Dober, a name that everybody loves. This matchup makes sense. It's a very, very fun matchup where I don't know who would win because to me, Dober probably hits harder. The slicker shots and crisper shots absolutely will be coming from Ribovics. But, Dober's, he can take you down too if he needs to. I think he could be able to get a takedown against Ribovics. But it's a fight where I definitely want to see, an absolute fireworks for the first fight. Next up. Man, another one with absolute fireworks, Chepe Mariscal versus Nate Landwehr. Chepe Mariscal, if I'm not mistaken, that's my boy, by the way. He is on a 4-fight win streak. I believe Damon Jackson, Morgan Charrier, Trevor Peak, and Jack Jenkins, I believe. So four straight wins for Chepe Mariscal. Nate Landwehr is coming off a win over Jamal Emmers, where he, fought adversity, came back and won. Look, when it comes to both these guys' fight style, it matches up well. Chepe Mariscal is a guy who's going to come forward the whole fight. Nate Landwehr's going to do the same exact thing. Nate Landwehr's a dog. Chepe is a dog. Who wins the dog out? When it comes to the rankings of both of these guys, to me, Chepe's a little bit higher. With that being said, Nate Landwehr is always a fun guy and a good, win to have on your record for sure. This guy beat Ludovic Klein, man. But anyways, yeah, Nate the Train versus Chepe Mariscal, a fight that nobody would want to miss, man. And I know I can't give away bangers every time, but I still got so many in the back pocket that I can afford to give this one away. So UFC 310's got some bangers. Next up, this is a fight that is already announced. For me, I think it could be the featured prelim. I have it in the featured prelim spot. Do I know if they'll make it the featured prelim? I don't. I hope they do. But, yeah, I would like to see this fight, I guess. In terms of big names, Dominic Reyes both these guys are former title challengers. They're both at the tail ends of their career. Dominic Reyes with a big win over Dustin Jacoby. Anthony Smith, if I'm not mistaken, just lost on short notice to Dolidze. Before that, I believe he submitted Petrino. And then before that, I think it was Roundtree knockout. If I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think that's how it went. Obviously, for Reyes, man, I don't really know if he looked great in his last fight. Dustin Jacoby ran at him and got caught with a left hand. It was kind of a stupid approach from Dustin Jacoby. I don't know what got into his brain. Mark Montoya is a guy who's very smart and calculated. I don't know what he told Jacoby to do, but I guess that must have been the game plan. And, this fight makes sense. Both these guys are pretty washed. I like Reyes a lot, but he is washed. But, yeah, this fight's not very fun to watch at all. We'll just see what happens. But it's one that's already on here. Next up. Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez versus Paulo Costa. Now look, do I think this fight's going to happen? No. To me, Paulo Costa, he has lost 3 fights in a row. Gregory Rodriguez just coming off a win versus Christian Leroy Duncan. It was a good win. He dominated him. He was the underdog in that fight. He beat him up pretty good. This is an entertaining fight, though. Nonetheless, I mean, obviously, look, I'm going to put together bangers. I know that Gregory Rodriguez wants this fight. Obviously, Paulo Costa is ranked number 9 in middleweight. Does Gregory Rodriguez deserve this opportunity to fight for a ranked spot this high? In my eyes, I do believe so. This guy is very entertaining to watch. Insane power, as well as an insane ground game. He's a very tough matchup for anybody. I'm talking anybody. You could throw that guy in there with anybody in that middleweight division. Marvin Vettori. I think you could beat Vettori. He's a guy that's very skillful. His submission game is very dangerous. Paulo Costa, good submission game. He's nasty on the feet. This is a fight that would be extremely fun to watch. And personally, I don't know who would win. Both the guys have knockout power. We've seen both the guys go out. To me, Gregory Rodriguez has a very suspicious, weird, durability chin. I feel like he gets hit hard, and sometimes he's either on the floor or he is, in your face, not caring. Obviously, he's been knocked out by Bruno Ferreira, and it was a very out-cold knockout, and it wasn't a masterful, massive shot. It was just kind of a straight left hand. I know Bruno Ferreira hits hard, but, man, that wasn't a crazy strike, especially to get put out like that, man. The guy looked like he needed a stretcher to get in the octagon and a golf cart to drive him out because it was bad. But, this fight would be sick, man. You can't sit here and tell me you wouldn't want to see this. It would be a banger, and all these fights that I've made have been bangers, obviously, but absolutely down to see this fight. Next up, a fight that's already on here once again. We got Raul Rosas taking on Tatiana Suarez. So Tatiana Suarez hasn't been in the octagon in years. I believe she has injury issues. Raul Rosas just fought at the Sphere, and he's making his return. He's cutting to 115. I think I'm going to pick Raul to win this one. To me, he seems like a stronger grappler. Tatiana's good, but Raul is, looking to improve, and I think he's a lot better here. So I'm going to go with Raul, but this fight, I'm going to be honest, I ain't too excited to see this, but I'll just, move on and go to the ones that I made, right? Next up, this is a fight everybody's been talking about. Do I think it's going to happen? I do. With the fact that, Umar Nurmagomedov is going to get a title shot, which is fucking ridiculous. The guy pulls out of, withdrew out of 4 fights already. A lot of those, guys over there do that kind of stuff. I don't know why. I still don't know why. He has 1 ranked win, but anyways, back to this. Peter Yan versus Deiveson Figueiredo. I think it's a good matchup. Look, honestly, I'm not going to sit here and lie. I think Yan absolutely schools Figueiredo, but in terms of, where the rankings are, I think the winner of this deserves a title shot. Put it simply, it's deserved, Peter Yan, he's a very fun guy to watch. People like him a lot. He's coming off a win versus Song Yadong. He was a former champion. If he wins this fight, there's no doubt in my mind he'll get a shot at the belt. Honestly, I wouldn't even be upset if he got it over Umar. With that being said, obviously that would never happen because Peter Yan had his chance at Merab, and it didn't go well. So that's never going to happen, or not going to happen at the moment. But yeah, I think this fight's very fun to watch, very entertaining, good featured fight, and let's move on. Next up, the co-main event. Look, we got Dan Hooker versus Justin Gaethje. Hey, I'm not going to sit here and lie. This is a good fight for Gaethje. Gaethje, to me, I don't really know if I think he's slowly recovering from the UFC 300 knockout. I think he woke up. I saw him at the Sphere, so I believe he woke up a little while ago, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's still, face first, ass up in the T-Mobile Arena right now because, man, he got put out bad, and that is very concerning. You don't have to worry about that with Hooker, man. You know, he can go in there and beat the hell out of Hooker, and I think he does that. Hooker, to me, bro, this dude's on off 2 split decision wins, and he's in the top 5. It's pretty much a free win for Mr. Justin Gaethje, but a violence fight no matter what. People were talking about, Oliveira, Hooker. I think with that, with Oliveira getting booked versus Chandler, I think this is the fight to make. To me, I don't even know if Justin Gaethje's ever returning. I've seen him hitting bongs and playing golf and acting a fool. I think, he's not really gonna take a fight, but I'd like to see this a lot. It's as in terms of a logical matchup for the date, December 7th. Do I know if this is gonna happen? I wouldn't be that confident. As with all these fights, I'm not that confident in them happening, but this is what I would do, right? So yeah, I think this is a good fight. Hooker to me is, I think he'd lose to a lot of people in the top 15 in lightweight. I think he loses to people outside of the top 15 in lightweight. I don't think Hooker is good at all. Justin Gaethje can go out there and beat the legit hell out of him. I think he does that and but nonetheless, look, the fight would be entertaining. But yeah, I think it'd be a fun one. Let's get on to the main event. As you could tell by the thumbnail, yes, this is what I think the main event will be. Now, let me give a quick explanation on why I do not think it'll be a title fight. Okay, first of all, I saw an Instagram post on Twitter of a guy talking about how Colby Covington had fight news. I can't exactly remember the date that he was talking about. I believe it was November, so that would be, UFC 309, with the Oliveira and Chandler being booked. I don't think there's any way they could put this fight on here. To me, nothing else makes sense for either of these guys. They're pretty much both out of the title contention. Colby Covington has lost 3 title fights. Dustin Poirier, sorry boy, has gotten choked out in 3 fights. 3 title fights. So they're both in a spot where it is not a logical thing for them to fight a surging contender. They should do a money fight. So I think this is important, and it will happen. As with the flyweights, you could do a flyweight title fight. I don't think it, would be over this, honestly, bro. Like, how would you put this as the co-main event and you put a fucking flyweight title fight between Pantoja and I don't even know who the hell it would be. I guess that guy that's coming over from K1 as a fucking main event. You wouldn't do that, right? You can't put Shavkat and Bilal there either, bro. Nobody knows, Shavkat, really. So I think this is a fight that has to be a main event. If it happens, I really want it to happen, man, I really do. Dustin Poirier has shied away. Oh, I'm sorry. Has shied away from this fight like crazy. He said that he will never fight Colby because if they do, they're both going to jail. Some bullshit, wussy excuse from Dustin Poirier. But I think the money will be right here. I think this fight happens, and I'm excited, and I would be very excited, to see the press conference, the build-up. Obviously, people don't like Colby. There's people that don't like Dustin, me including. I'd love to see this matchup. The build-up would be insane. The press conferences would be great. I'd love to see this matchup. I think it's extremely, probably going to happen. So I think UFC 310, I just said 310. 310 will be a matchup, a grudge match between Dustin Poirier and Colby Covington. Let me know what y'all think, and I appreciate everybody, and I'll catch y'all boys in the next one.